So do you have that awkward little space left in your zoo that you have no idea what to do with? Well, do I have the idea for you. Just shove some meerkats into it. Because that's what we're doing today for our mini build. We're building a meerkat habitat. So let's get on with it. So as I've said, for the second Planet Zoo mini build, we're building a meerkat habitat, and I have to admit, yes, the red panda habitat, or at least the outdoor fire pit area, was already kind of set up so that it would slot in nicely into a meerkat habitat. Also, yes, right from the start, I wanted meerkats at the entrance because I saw it in the Edinburgh Zoo and I wanted it. So that's why there's a meerkat habitat just here. Even though it doesn't really a lot of the times I will try to kind of fit in animals that are kind of, you know, in the same region. Like I would build an Asian section, or at least would have an Asian section in mind where there's a lot of Asian animals, and then I don't know, a European forest as I did in Eve Zoo, and I had an Africa section in mind and a Northern European section in mind. And then I realized, touring through multiple zoos on Google Maps, which if you want ideas for how to lay out a zoo in Planet Zoo, Google Maps is your greatest ally, because I have found a surprising amount of zoos that you can just walk through in Google Maps. It's not the perfect experience. I think the perfect experience would probably be just looking up zoo tours on YouTube, because then you actually see the animals move and don't have these weird, this is the thing with Google Maps. Sometimes the pictures are horrifying, because then there's this person that's just stretched out or decapitated, and it's just that's nightmare fuel. But yeah, for building in Planet Zoo or getting ideas for Planet Zoo, just using Google Maps can be a great help. Although I would again say that just looking up zoo tours on YouTube is probably the better one, just because you can actually see the zoo in action. But yeah, when it came to today's build with the meerkat habitat, basically why I really like meerkats in Planet Zoo. Well, I have a love-hate relationship with meerkats. For those who still remember my meerkat rant, which for some reason it just pops back into my mind every couple of weeks. It's just oh yeah, I ranted about meerkats. But yeah, when it comes to meerkats, the reason that I really like them in the Planet Zoo is that they are just this awesome filler animal. They don't require a lot of space. You can just plop them into those tiny little nooks that you wouldn't otherwise be able to fill with any other animal. A snow leopard wouldn't fit in here, which is probably the animal that we're going to do for the next build, although I'm not sure. I'm just I want a big cat at the front, just because I like cats. That's the entire reasoning. But yeah, when it comes to meerkats, they're just this incredible filler animal, and I really love for Planet Zoo to get more of those, just because there's always those animals that you don't specifically go to the zoo for, but you watch them as you pass by to get to other animals, and it's amazing to fill up those small spaces. But when it comes to meerkats for this build, as I've already said, yes, when it came to the outdoor area for the red pandas, or at least for the gift shop, not for the red pandas, but for the gift shop with the fire or open fire, yeah, that was that rounded bench area was just completely set up because I was just ooh, if I put glass on that area, it would make for such an amazing viewing area into another habitat. And then I was just yeah, meerkats actually fit into that area. However, the thing that I don't like about the meerkats is, of course, the digging mechanics. Well, the digging mechanics in Planet Zoo, just overall, it's not that it's bad, it's just mediocre. It's the Starbucks coffee of Planet Zoo. I'm now probably going to get hate from people who like Starbucks, but Starbucks to me is just nah. Although I've been kind of, I was addicted to coffee in college, and I basically went cold turkey on that. And then I discovered, sort of discovered these sort of coffee cookies, which are not even 1% coffee, but it's just yes, that's just enough caffeine for me. because otherwise I would drink 5 espressos and fall asleep 15 minutes later. But anyways, back to the actual Meerkats. So when it came to the actual build for the Meerkats, as I said, it was already kind of built, or at least the idea was already there when the red pandas came to be. And so when it came to actually building the indoor section for the Meerkats, because of course it's supposed to be a Dutch zoo, so eventually it might get too cold for the Meerkats to really want to be outside. But it was just, I saw this one picture, and this is just like how every build basically starts. I saw this one picture of a beach villa, which is really weird considering that the red panda habitat or the gift shop is inspired by like a forest villa, and when it came to the Meerkats it was just like beach villa. So I'm just going from villa to villa now, and I think that the build that I have in mind, or I'm considering for the next build, is just a plains villa, or just like grasslands or open field villa. So it's just like villa, villa, villa. I mean, villas just really work well to turn into habitats for animals, or at least indoor sections. But yeah, when it came to the build for the indoor area for the Meerkats, you can really see just like, yeah, this is supposed to be peachy, because it's just like, yeah, these wooden frame doors that definitely are not going to hold back any cold in winter. Yeah, but then it's just like, it's, you know, it's a keeper area, or it's just like it's a backstage area. You're not supposed to be here constantly. There's probably going to be a heater that I still have to build. Oops. Yeah, the staff in here are just freezing. Meerkats probably have a heater, the staff don't, because I didn't build a heater yet. I would think of like, how would a heater work? Well, it would easily work in here, it's just like, how would I make it look good? Because one of you guys mentioned of like wanting to see like the tiny details, and at first I was kind of surprised at that. I think it was Oliver who mentioned like wanting to see the tiny details, and I was kind of surprised because I don't really feel like I put in a lot of like tiny details. It's just that like, maybe there are tiny details, but for me they are not tiny because I see it as like the bigger picture, and so the tiny details kind of get lost even though I do build them. I don't think that the videos are going to get any longer. I mean, especially like mini builds are probably going to stick around like below 50 minutes, and then the larger like Monday builds are going to stick around 25 minutes. And I am probably never going to stream Planet Zoo ever again. It's just, well, I'd never say never, but to me it's just really stressful to stream Planet Zoo. So whenever I'm thinking of like, oh, I want to stream something, it's almost never now Planet Zoo. Like, I want to stream like drawing, Dinkum, maybe Farthest Frontier, but never really Planet Zoo anymore. Anyway, that was kind of a side tangent of streaming, which I rarely do. Rarely, it's like, it's a miracle if I ever stream. But yeah, I should focus back on the Meerkat habitat. So, back to the Meerkat habitat. As I said, I did make an indoor area because it's the Netherlands, it's going to get cold. Meerkats are like desert/savanna animals, so they wouldn't really survive, or well, they would probably survive, they just wouldn't be like happy about being in like -degree temperatures, or at least minus like Celsius. So below freezing temperatures is probably the better way to say it, so that everybody understands. Even though we rarely get below freezing anymore in the Netherlands, and if we do, everything is just chaos. It's always chaos when it, like, the slightest bit of snow falls on the ground in the Netherlands, the entire railway network just collapses. Like just a giant sinkhole takes it all. That's meant to be a joke, but I think both of the times that it has snowed recently in the Netherlands, both of the times the trains were just not working as they would or should. Anyways, back to the actual habitat. So as I said in the beginning of this voiceover ramble, usually I would kind of sort animals together based on what region they come from. But going through a lot of zoos, it was just like, yeah, they have animals that are sometimes kind of out of place. Where you have a red panda next to a meerkat, even though those are from two entirely separate continents. And that's probably just because, hey, most of the zoos that I have walked through on Google Maps, because I'm not rich enough to just fly over to Edinburgh, but most zoos, of course, started quite some time ago, and quite some time ago it was just like the zoos just grew over time. They added more animals, and they didn't like revamp an entire area just to make all of the animals kind of fit in. It was just like, here is a red panda habitat, and then we will build a meerkat habitat next to it because we have the budget for that, and because meerkats are somewhere available. I'm really curious, like, how do zoos do it with like getting animals? Like, is it just like a trade market? Like, it's just an interesting thing to think about. Like, how do zoos get animals? Because it's probably not as simple as it is in Planet Zoo, where you just have some kind of like market system. Although I probably would for like some animals, like some of the less prestigious animals, or at least like the less endangered animals and such. But I'm really curious, just like, how do zoos do that? Like, how do they get new animals? Do they like contact another zoo to like see like, hey, do you have animals available? I mean, probably, because like otherwise you would get the thing of inbreeding. I guess, yeah, you probably don't want that as a zoo. So if you have like a lot of, let's say, meerkats, you want to get rid of some of them so that that brother and sister don't go all Game of Thrones on them. I have no idea where this voiceover went to. It went from like, oh yeah, I don't want to stream Planet Zoo, to incest. Great. Anyways, when it comes to the habitat for the meerkats, it was really just a fun build, and this is probably why when it comes to Naturalis right now, I really like it that I'm just like, oh, I have an idea for this one or for this animal, I can now do it. Because it's not like, oh, I need to stick to this team, let's say with Eve Zoo, where I was like, oh, I need to stick to a European team or an Asian team. It's just like, I want to build a meerkat habitat, I can build a meerkat habitat. The next one is probably going to be a snow leopard or a tiger or some cat. I don't think a lion would fit in on the place where I want to build this habitat, but we will never know. Maybe I will put lions there. No, probably not. It might also be a bear. I just want something big, because we have so far had red pandas and meerkats, which are both kind of small. So I want a larger animal as well, just to contrast the animals that we have already so far in Planet Zoo, in Naturalis, which is in Planet Zoo, so it kind of works. This voiceover has been kind of chaotic. Less chaotic, I would say, than the last one, but that's not that much of like achievement. Last one was just like, ooh boy. Anyways, going back into the indoor section for this habitat. As I said, yeah, this is not going to be a nice place when it's cold. I will probably put in some heaters. Maybe, I don't know. There's obviously some things that I will eventually just forget to put in, where it's just like, oh yeah, I need to do that. And it's always just like, oh yeah, I remember it when I do a voiceover of like, oh, I would need to do that. And then as soon as I finish the voiceover, it's just like my brain just wipes itself, or my memory wipes itself, and it's just like, that's legit the sound that my brain just like makes when I just have a brain fart. Anyway, so there's this indoor section. Also, maybe if they want to like separate meerkats out from like the rest of the pack, if there's like some reason for them to do that, like maybe to do like a health checkup or such, they can now do that. But I just wanted to have another building and then also have an outdoor section for the meerkats. And it's such a nice feeling when you have that like tiny little area and you can fill it up with a habitat. It just like perfectly fits in there. I think I have like 5, maybe 10 meerkats in this habitat, and they are very happy. I still am disappointed with the digging system, but the meerkats size-wise are just the perfect filler animal, and they work perfectly for this area. So that's it for today's mini build, and now let's see the end result. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye bye.